real quick before we start this episode. Let's have some real talk. The clean living space is really loud right now. One person says this is toxic and another person says this is fine, and next thing you know, you're having a full-blown meltdown in the aisle of Whole Foods. If you are over the confusion and you just want some clarity, I have something for you. My newly updated top 25 toxins to avoid isn't just a fear-based no list. These are the ingredients that actually disrupt your hormones, cause cancer, and have the science to back it up. They're not just opinions, it's based on actual facts. But what makes this resource different than anything else out there is I talk about ingredients you should use with caution. Just because something is synthetic does not mean it's toxic. And just because something might irritate your skin doesn't mean it's going to irritate my skin. Those ingredients should not be talked about as being toxic. This resource is no fluff, no shame, and just clarity. It's completely free. You can download it at toxinstoavoid.com. That is toxinstoavoid.com. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Welcome back to the Toxin Free podcast. As always, I'm your host, Wendy, environmental toxins attorney turned clean living coach, and Dr. Abby Kramer is back on the podcast, and we're not talking about electrolytes today. We are talking about red lights. Thanks for coming back.
Of course. I'm glad to be back. This is usually what happens. I talk about one thing first, and then it's like, oh my gosh, we got to talk about your other stuff. So happy to have this convo.
I think this is going to be so good because my audience and my community listening, I think that red light is so popular in the wellness space right now, but it's also one of those things where people are like, wait, what does it do? And how does it do? Is that really true? And are you sure it's not a gimmick? And it's also one of those things where you talk about it and you educate about it and people are like, oh my gosh, I need that in my life. And then they go on Amazon and they go buy something from Amazon, and that also is problematic. So what I want to do today is give everyone who's listening a red light 101, all the things you need to know, and then dive into the practicality, how to use it, how to make sure you've got a good one. And then I really want to talk about Fringe red light products because they are like completely different than anything else that is on the market. But let's start at the very beginning. What is red light?
Yes. So, and I agree with you. It's a topic that like anyone remotely in the wellness space or crunchy community has heard of red light therapy, but that's about it, right? It's like I hear about it, I see it everywhere, I see all the influencers with their giant panels doing yoga in front of it, but what the heck is it, right? And red light therapy, it really comes down to the conversation is about light and what is light, right? That's really where it starts. So light, if you bottle that down, comes down to something called a photon, which if you guys remember in probably middle school science or high school, you learned about the physics of light, and light is waves, wavelengths of light, right? So imagine like a squiggly wave. Different wavelengths of light have higher and lower squiggles, essentially. The distance between those peaks and valleys determine the color of a light and how we perceive the color. Okay, so a lot of people have heard of red light therapy like we're talking about. There's a blue light, which I'm sure we'll talk about a lot. There's near and infrared light. Those are invisible spectrums of light. We cannot see them with our eyes, which is really interesting, but they emit heat. So if you've been in like a far infrared sauna, it's actually a wavelength of light that creates that heat. And in a lot of red light therapy devices, it's made up of red and near infrared light. But what light is, ultimately, it comes from the sun. And so around 50% of the sun's natural wavelengths in light, the sun has many different wavelengths, are red and near infrared light. And there's a lot of healing potential that comes from those wavelengths of light. It's been very well documented and studied. And so that's what red light therapy devices are doing. It's harnessing those healing wavelengths of light that ultimately are produced by the sun and creating products so we can benefit from those in our homes.
I love that you said the healing benefits of the sun because I huge believer, everybody needs to be outside. And I think a lot of people don't realize that those wavelengths that are chosen in red light therapy that have been studied so significantly and so deeply, and we'll get into it, we got that idea and we got that technology from the sun.
Yep.
Right? The healing power of the sun, harnessing it and then putting it into, a device in our home that we're using. But that's the original concept behind why those wavelengths work.
And it seems so silly, and it really is, honestly, that we even need red light therapy, right? So we can talk about that. People ask us, often, can't I just go outside? Yes. And you should. Absolutely, the sun is best. The sun has the full spectrum of wavelengths that our bodies need. And we also live in 2025, and the average American spends 93% of our time indoors.
That's so So sad.
It's so bad. So yes, everyone, please get outside more. The sun is the best healer. And I live in southeastern Wisconsin. In the winter, it's dark at 4 o'clock. I can benefit from some red light therapy. And there's months on end where it's like overcast every day, right? And so it's just another tool to really get us back to our roots as humans, which is most of us have like a sunlight deficiency.
Oh, absolutely. And is it true the amount of red light versus UV light coming from the sun is higher percentage at sunrise and sunset? Is that correct?
Correct. And so that's why at sunrise and sunset, the sun looks red, orange, yellowy, right? And if you look at the sun right now in the middle of the afternoon, it's almost blue, right? It's higher in blue light naturally. Those wavelengths change throughout the course of the day between sunrise and sunset, which is why if you're looking for healthy sun exposure, the best time to do it, multiple reasons, is sunrise, sunset. Cues your circadian rhythm, helps your hormones. It's also a lot lower UV, really low risk of burning, but we need that direct sunlight exposure really on a cellular level.
Yeah. And I want to touch on really fast because I always tell people go outside at sunrise and like look out at the sun and let that light like into your eyes. It triggers so many things. But your skin, your whole body is full of receptors, of light receptors that are also receiving those light messages from the sun. So it's not just your eyes, it's letting the sun's rays actually like hit your skin and, come into those what I call the sunlight receptors. But we are literally plants with feelings. Like we need the sun.
Sun and water. If we don't have those, we wilt away and die, basically. Yeah. I mean, the two ways we absorb those healing wavelengths of light, two pathways, through our eyes and through our skin, right? And so what do most people have on all the time? Glasses or sunglasses. Even most glasses, they come automatically with a blue light filter. Debatable on how well it works, whatever, but still. And then most people are sunglasses on the second the sun's out. And then SPF everything, SPF moisturizer, and I'm not hating on SPF. We need to not burn and all of that. But that early morning and sunset, don't be full body clothes or like SPF shirts to block everything and your face is covered in SPF. For a lot of women's products, foundation has SPF in it.
Yep.
You are then blocking those rays, right? So we want to absorb those through exposed skin.
I love that. Okay, so we live in 2025 and most people are spending 93% of their time inside. And so red light therapy is really important. And I talk about this all the time. When I was healing my Hashimoto's, I saw multiple studies that showed that women who had high antibodies from Hashimoto's who used red light therapy on their thyroid significantly decreased their antibodies, as well as were able to significantly decrease the amount of thyroid hormone they needed to be on. So I have avidly been using red light therapy on my thyroid for years.
Love that.
And love it. But a lot of people are like, how does it do that? So how does the therapeutic part come in? What does red light actually do to our bodies?
So it does many things, but honestly, the core foundational piece that it does, no matter where you are using it, is it helps heal the mitochondria of the cell. Okay, if you think back again, 6th grade biology, everyone can probably remember this. It's seared into your brain, that diagram of like a cell cut in half, and you can see all the parts inside. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's what runs every process in our body and creates energy for all of those processes to run. So whether you're talking about your thyroid being able to heal and repair and recover and create energy and lower inflammation and heal from autoimmune condition, whether you're talking about healing a broken bone, whether you're talking about healing your skin or anti-aging and producing collagen, it's going to help all of those things, especially with like a direct on contact treatment like you're talking about. I'm assuming you're saying like red light over your throat,
right
over
your
my
thyroid,
right? So you're targeting the mitochondria of the cells in that area, basically supercharging them to work better. In a perfect world, yes, we're outside. You're getting that from the sun, right? But we don't live in a perfect world. So it's a great, safe, very effective, very low risk way to support really whatever people are looking to heal. I mean, it honestly, the more it goes on, the more research that comes out, the more you read, it really does a lot of times seem too good to be true. Because for the most part, it's like, can red light therapy help this? It's like, probably. I mean, honestly, because you're just helping the cells regenerate and heal.
So let's talk about that. Specific uses. I do agree with you. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, right. So it basically heals everything. But to your point, it heals the core thing in our body. It heals itself.
Correct.
Like it is like the battery
Yep.
that we're recharging the batteries in our bodies that are responsible for healing the things that are broken. So let's talk about some of those things I already talked about, thyroid. So why would somebody want to use red light on, say, like their brain? You have a wrap. Fringe has a wrap that wraps around your brain. Can we talk about some of the science behind that?
Yeah, red light therapy is amazing for cognitive function and overall brain support. So, whether you're looking at like trauma, there's great data on red light therapy for concussion recovery, traumatic brain injury, stroke, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, MS, all those neurodegenerative things for just like focus support, right? So if you have like brain fog or ADHD, like you just have a hard time kind of reining stuff in. Again, if we're supercharging the mitochondria of your brain cells, everything is going to work better. Red light therapy also really helps increase circulation and blood flow. And so helping more nutrient delivery, oxygen delivery, all of that to the brain, obviously then has a downstream effect of like helping everything. And I have a lot of my patients use red light for their brain if they have like a big concern over preventing that cognitive decline. Like, oh, Alzheimer's really runs in my family. If that was my genetic line, I would be doing red light on my head every day, no doubt, because the data is really compelling for prevention. It can kind of help slow progress too if someone is in that space already, but it's awesome as a preventative. So just if part of your wellness intentions is brain health, it is like an absolute no-brainer to add that to your routine.
What about things like headaches and pain, like sinus pressure and things like that?
Yeah, red light's amazing for pain. That's probably the number one reason our customers use our products. It's like a Swiss Army knife for, I always say like the holistic community. This should be in everyone's at-home toolkit because sprain, strain, low back pain, you're sore from coughing from a cold, you have a sinus infection, right? Like my daughter's 6 years old, and if anything happens, she's like, I need red light. It's one of the first things we bust out.
Period cramps is like a thing in the South. I always like, we use that. It's so good. It
Headache,
works so
like you
fast.
said.
Yeah.
I use it on our dogs all the time. It's amazing for animals, which we can talk about more if you want, but it's just such a good at home. I find so many of us like wellness minded moms, especially, I bet most of your followers are moms.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We have our remedies and our supplements and like all of our other things. And this is like a physical, tangible thing that's very easy to apply with your kids. Sometimes your kids are going on a strike and they're just not going to take your like echinacea, brew you just made, right? But they certainly can put red light over their chest to support their immune system, or on their back, or on their like scrape they just got from falling off their bike. So it's such a catch-all.
And can we touch on, I've seen some studies on gut bacteria and the microbiome and using red light like on your belly. Can you talk about that?
This is such an exciting one. It's like relatively new. And this is where, again, it's like for real. It can actually, are you kidding? Like it also does that. But yeah, there's studies showing evidence of red light therapy direct to your abdomen can actually help heal and like balance the microbiome.
It's wild.
I mean,
it's wild.
What I tell people is if you are going to do red light in one area every day, I would do your abdomen, hands down. Biggest bang for your buck. The gut is everything, as we know. It's your immune system, it's your neurotransmitters, it's your digestion. It's so important for so many reasons. And the reproductive system has some of the most concentrated mitochondria out of anywhere in the body. So you're really getting a nice 2-for-1. Well, more than 2-for-1, but a good bang for your buck. In like 20 minutes, you're supporting so many different systems in your body doing it on your abdomen.
Oh, it's so incredible. Okay, so we now know red light's incredible. Obviously, all the red light therapy studies that come out, as they come out, for me, it just confirms how important the sun is, right?
Yep.
So I love that, but I also really love having my red light device. This is the part where I really want to talk about what is it important to look for in a red light device, like specifically the frequencies. Let's start there. If somebody is like, okay, I hear you, I see all these studies and there's a lot of them. What do they need to look for in a red light device?
Yep. So a handful of things. The first thing I would look for is what specific wavelengths of light they are using. A transparent, good quality company will tell you, and that'll be front and center on their website, these wavelengths. So the two things you want to look for: high quality red light therapy devices actually almost always contain red light and near infrared. That's something that's important to understand. We kind of use the umbrella term of red light, but it's usually red and near infrared together. The red light should be around 660 nanometers, and the near infrared should be around 850 nanometers. Now, there's a little variability with that because how these devices work is it's a range. Okay, so we say our fringe red light is 660 nanometers, but there's a little bit of variability. So I wouldn't freak out if yours says it's 650 or yours says it's 860, right? But right around that target, those are the most research proven effective wavelengths you want to be hitting. And then the next thing to look at from like a numbers standpoint is the intensity, or that can be called irradiance. Okay, this is hugely variable across products. You can look at 10 different products. They're all going to have different irradiance levels. And at Fringe, we took a very different approach to irradiance. A lot of other products out there, you'll look at their marketing as like super high irradiance, high powered, right? We always want everything like more is better, stronger, better results, right? And so a lot of products are closer to 100. Intensity is measured in something called milliwatts per centimeter squared for the nerds out there, okay? We aimed to make our red light, because we believe the sun knows best, at a similar intensity to that of what the sun is when it hits your skin. And the sun's irradiance or intensity is between 20 to 40 milliwatts per centimeter squared. So our units are very safe, very low sun-like intensity dose versus like if you guys see those giant, you've probably seen these like full body panels, right? Like crazy huge. Most of those are super, super high powered intense, and they're probably only having people do like 5-minute sessions because it's so intense. But the reality is the data actually shows they've done comparative studies between these super, super high powered units and lower powered units. And you would think, okay, they're probably equal. You do super high powered for a 5-minute session. You do something like a Fringe Rat for 20 at a much lower power. There's probably similar effect. But it actually showed that a longer duration and lower powered unit was more effective. So more isn't better. I mean, go figure. It's like we always want to like supercharge everything. And
sure. So I actually I don't have those huge panels, but I do have one that is like, I don't know, half the height of my body. Yeah. And I have multiple red light devices, but I purposely wanted something that was 100 because I wanted to sit back away from it. Yes. Like I wanted it in my room. So by the time it would hit my skin, it would be roughly around.
Oh, totally.
That.
Way lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you can do. And that's what we tell people, right? If it feels really intense or it feels super hot or it feels too bright for your eyes, you just increase the distance because the light scatters or reflects immediately. The second you get it an inch away, right? You get way less therapeutic potential. If you do have a high powered unit, I would just decrease your distance. You know, I tell people you have a couple options. You can decrease your distance if the settings allow you, the intensity, like on our wraps and panels, you can change the intensity to be like
I love
lower.
that. I love that you can do that on yours.
Super nice for sensitive people or children, stuff like that. Or you decrease the time, right? Instead of doing a 15-minute session in front of your like supercharged panel, do 5. Because red light therapy should always feel warm. It should not feel hot. So that's kind of your clue as to it's too much.
Can we address a controversial topic?
Yes.
I did a podcast episode last year, and I was telling people that for 3 minutes every morning when I do my red light therapy, I open my eyes.
Yeah.
And the world went crazy. That is dangerous. How dare I talk about that? And in the podcast episode, I was sharing multiple studies that had recently been published that showed that 3 minutes in the morning, like they were very specific, which no surprise. Not surprised at all that morning time frame based on our circadian health, that it would be the morning time where they had people open their eyes, and it was a lower irradiance and for 3 minutes every morning. And I started doing it and my eyesight started to improve. I had 20/20 vision my whole life. And then I woke up the day I turned 40 and could not read the back of my supplement bottle for real. It was very traumatic.
Wow. Off the cliff.
God. It was awful. And it literally just went downhill from there. But I mean, think about it. College, law school, my job. Like I stare at a computer screen all day long and did my whole life. It went pretty far and I needed readers that were pretty big. And I've slowly started to walk that back. But people were really pissed at me.
Yeah.
And the red light companies that I did recommend were pissed at me.
Yeah.
They were like, people need to wear their goggles. That's not safe. And I'm like, whatever. Can we just tell people the truth?
You're like, I'm a lawyer.
What do you think about it?
It's fine. I mean, are you not going outside like without your safety goggles on in the morning? Come on. It's fine. So any red light company, like if you buy a panel, they're going to send you eye protection with it. That's like a legal thing, of course. And of course, don't be stupid and stand right in front of your panel for 30 minutes and your eyes are like uncomfortable and hurt and you push past that. You need to build up to it, right? I'm sure for you, when you first started doing it, it probably was kind of uncomfortable. And over time, it
was super bright.
Doesn't even
And now
bother
I don't
me.
even think about it.
And so
but
your
I
eyes
also
do
don't
adapt.
wear sunglasses anymore either. When I go outside, because I have really, really light green eyes and the sun used to really bother me, does not bother me anymore. I do not wear sunglasses.
You have to adapt to it. For sure, there's an adaptation period. So I would tell people if you want to work on this, start with just having like your red light panel, your device, just like on in the morning or evening, those hours. So it's on in your environment. Your eyes are still receiving that signal. And gradually over time, you can get closer. You can also start with doing that with your eyes closed. You do absorb some of the light through your eyelids, and that's obviously going to be more comfortable. And over time, you can increase that dose. But if it's uncomfortable, if it's painful, of course, stop. There's numerous studies showing red light therapy like heals eyes and eye like macular degeneration, all this stuff. Right?
I know.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah. So, but that was a good point that you made. The other reason why I really like having my panel is that it's in my kitchen and that's what I turn on in the morning. And that way I don't have to turn on these bright blue overhead lights. It's my light in the morning. That's how I get ready.
Yep. Especially if you're the type, like I'm an early morning person too. I'm usually up before it's light out. Right. And so then you're giving your body like healing natural wavelengths of light, not artificial.
Yep. Okay, I want to talk about quality and Amazon for a second because people need to hear this. I get told all the time because I have a very, very small amount of companies that I like trust that I feel like have done a really good job from a quality perspective. That's over on my guide and you're going to find Fringe right on there. People think, oh, I can go get $100 red light on Amazon and that's good enough. I don't need to spend $300 or whatever it is on something that's like high quality. And people don't realize literally there's companies on Amazon. I mean, everything, there's so much counterfeit on Amazon. It's not even funny. But even the ones that look legit, even the ones that are like, this is our wavelength and the ones that say all the right things, there are literally companies selling blue light, like regular lights and putting like red film on it. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, it's real bad.
It's so bad.
That's where it's like, you just need to go through a company that is really transparent about everything, that'll give you information, that'll do like third party. We didn't even talk about this, but EMFs are a big issue with red light therapy devices. So anything that plugs into a wall is going to have EMF. And so if you have like our panel plugs into a wall, but we do a lot of extra work to ground the EMF away from the unit, keep it closer to the wall. So at like a treatment distance, your exposure is 0. Most people don't do that because they just like frankly don't care. And so you don't know if you're like blasting yourself with EMF every time you're doing it. Then it's like, how beneficial is this? Flicker is another really important one. That cheap units, you don't want your red light therapy to have a high flicker. And flicker usually cannot be detected by the human eye, but your physiology detects it. And think about when a light's
Have
flickering.
you done this with your phone? You can record it and see. I have people do that with their overhead lights, and it literally is just like flicking away.
It's horrible. Like,
it's so bad.
Imagine if you could see that, right? And so you don't want your red light to have, it's just irritating to your system. And obviously you get what you pay for, right? So it costs more money to make these high quality units that don't have flicker, that hit the right wavelengths, and that last, right? Maybe you spend $100 on a unit. Maybe it checks all those boxes. I don't know. But in 6 months, does it crap out? Does it have a good warranty? Does it have a good customer service where you can actually talk to a person and they can replace your unit when you have a problem down the line? So it's just important to know what you're buying, because especially when you're putting something on your body, and we didn't even talk about this, but talk about toxins. What's it made out of?
Yeah.
What is going on your skin every time you're doing that with a unit that like heats up? Oof, right? We didn't even go there, but it's just when you're investing in like a healing product, that is not somewhere where I would choose to cut corners, right? Just like our previous conversation on supplements. You might be able to find cheaper supplements, but at what cost?
And I've had people come to me, and this is true with anything, the whole you get what you pay for, like whether it's supplements, whether it's really good quality essential oils, whether
Yes.
it's really good quality, red light, all of those things are so healing in so many ways. But if you buy crappy ones, they're not going to do anything for you.
No.
And so many people come to me and say, I bought a red light and it didn't do anything. And I was like, well, which one did you buy? It does a lot for me.
They're not
Like,
all the
I don't
same.
know. And then they would upgrade and get something quality and they'll come back to me and say,
Yes.
oh yeah, I notice a huge difference. So it's like, it's just a waste of money anyway, if you're actually buying it for something therapeutic.
Yeah, 100%. And I would also argue a lot of people don't have the perspective on red light therapy. Like previous to 5 years ago, there were no at-home red light therapy devices.
No,
If
you
you
had to
wanted
go
to
into a
benefit from
clinic.
red light therapy, you were going to a clinic 3 to 4 times a week, paying probably $20 to $50, maybe even more for specific things like a laser treatment. And so, if you put that into perspective, now you're paying, I don't know, between $200 to $500 for an at-home unit that like pays for itself for a month of sessions that you would have to pay like a clinic for. So it costs money to make high quality products, and you definitely get your use out of it for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about specific uses in your products in particular, because there are some things about your products that don't exist other places at all, which is something I really love. I want to say creativity, but I feel like what you guys just did was you really listened to the people who were going to be the people using it, and you made a product specifically for them instead of like generalized red light. And there's nothing wrong. Like I have, a panel and my little box. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I use those things every single day, but your products are special. So let's like walk through. I want to first talk about your face mask.
Yep.
Because in my group, my Toxin Free 3 course that I have, my students, I have a lot of people who have, as mature women, hormonal acne that is like, they're trying everything, right? So we have a lot of conversations about skincare and sun and all that stuff. Your mask has a blue light setting on it. Can we talk about that?
Yes. And everyone's like, blue light, I thought that was bad. How dare you put that in a product? There is a difference between your horrible blue LED overhead lights and therapeutic light, right? Same thing. It's about the specific wavelength you are using and the purpose in which you're using it for. So blue light is antimicrobial. It's antibacterial, anti-yeast. It kills infections. A lot of times acne is bacterial or yeast in nature. And so we decided to put that in our face mask. It's also in our pelvic wand, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
But it helps kill those infections. So anyone with acne, the blue light setting specifically is really great for blemishes and breakouts. But I still have those people use both settings because there's studies also on red and near infrared light for blemishes. So I would do the red light and near infrared setting and the blue one. It's amazing for even if your face is clear, but you have acne scarring, maybe from when you were a teenager. It's amazing for scars. And the clutch one, no one uses the face mask for those sinus infections because you're getting
I'm
it
so
right
glad
there.
you brought that up.
And you can do blue light, which is antibacterial. So the face mask is just awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. I don't own it yet, but I have multiple students that do. And now that I've seen their like transformation, so I'm like, okay, that's next on my Christmas list to myself.
It's
So
fabulous.
I love it. I want to talk about the head wrap. You have, and by the way, wraps, like just in general, the fact that you guys
Wraps
have
are the bomb.
these wraps where you can literally, they mold to your body. And so your head wrap, what is the difference between utilizing your head wrap, which is specific for, brain, that area, your head, versus like just sitting in front of like a full panel where your head is getting like
some exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, listen, red light therapy is the most effective directly on contact, like we talked about. Anytime you're any distance from a panel, the light scatters, you lose some absorption, right? Hence for us, the red light is also only works if you actually use it and use it regularly. And so I find with myself, with my family, with my patients, with my community, the wraps are so much more user-friendly. You wrap it on, it's wireless. You can be doing the laundry.
You
while you're
literally
doing
walk
your red
around
light
and
therapy.
do
You
stuff.
can walk around, people.
Yes.
It's so awesome. You're not tied to a cord. It's just so easy. But the head wrap has the red and near infrared light. So people ask, can I just slap a regular wrap on my head? Yeah, of course you can. But it also has an additional wavelength of near infrared that is designed to penetrate the skull deeper because obviously your skull's kind of in the way. So it's more targeted specifically for brain. Now, I have some people that have bought the head wrap And because you fold it up yourself, it's like a Velcro situation. You can unfold it and use it on your back or use it on your knee or use it on your abdomen. It's not going to hurt anything. So that one is a really nice one.
So versatile.
For brain health, but you can use it other places too.
Can you, the settings that are on it, can you turn that third part off, or is that automatically part of the settings?
It's automatic.
It's automatic.
It's fine. It's just going to go a little deeper, which isn't the worst thing.
No, I mean, I would think that you would want that.
Yeah, especially if you have like a deep injury. Like that would be a good one to bust out.
Okay. Can we talk about the vaginal wand?
Yes, we can. The magic wand.
Is that what you call it?
Like that. I've really pushed with our marketing team to run with that, but they haven't listened to me yet.
Oh my God, you could have so much fun with that. So many ideas just popped into my head.
I know. The magic wand emoji, it's all happening.
Yeah. So, I want you to talk about this like in depth because so many women have pelvic floor pain during sex. Like, there's so much suffering that is silent happening with women in this country.
Yes.
And this device is incredible. Okay.
Yes. So yes, we formulated it alongside women pelvic floor specialists. So they helped the whole way along with prototypes and testing it and all of that because there just wasn't a great, thoughtfully designed product on the market before. If anyone listening has ever been to physical floor therapy, maybe postpartum or anything like that, you know that a lot of it involves internal, like intravaginal work. That's just how you access those pelvic floor, those tiny little muscles in there, the best way. And what happens, this is often postpartum, but hey, there's a lot of women that have pelvic floor issues that have never been pregnant or never had a baby. So not to say that doesn't exist, but I'd say it's the most common time you hear about it. Yep, I had 3 kids. Now I can't jump on the trampoline without peeing my pants. Okay, that's not normal. It is very common, and we're told it's just you have kids, that's a price you pay, but it is not normal. What that is pelvic floor dysfunction. And it usually means certain muscles are really, really tight, and it affects your bladder control. Okay, so that's kind of category 1 is like leakage, bladder control issues. The way you get to those muscles to release them is internally. That's it. Okay. And so the red and near infrared light is also really healing, promotes collagen, promotes nutrient delivery, promotes blood flow. So it's super, super great for women, especially in perimenopause and menopause that experience a lot of vaginal dryness and pain. Okay. And then another category it's incredible for is chronic infections. So if you're listening and you get yeast infections all the time, chronic bacterial vaginosis, urinary tract infections, that's an issue with the microbiome of your vagina and your pH. Red and near infrared light help that, but the superstar for that is a therapeutic blue light, same that's in the face mask, antimicrobial. It really helps get at that root cause of whether it's a bacterial overgrowth or a yeast overgrowth or something like that, and helps like heal that internal environment, just like how we talked about red light helps your gut microbiome or the microbiome on your skin, on your face. Same idea applies. So usually it's the shock factor people see and they're like, oh, is Fringe like selling a dildo? What's happening? And it's like, yeah, we are. And no one's talking about it and you need it. So it's amazing. It comes with a giant manual that the physical therapists help put together. It tells you how to use it. Of course, it's never a replacement from working one-on-one with a provider. That's like the disclaimer. Everyone is different. Everyone has different imbalances. But again, it's all about, even if you're working a provider, what is something you can be doing every day to help you between sessions, to help you heal faster? Or maybe you did a ton of physical floor therapy postpartum and now 3 years later, you're starting to have some symptoms again. That's something you can like then go back to. And it's really great, honestly, for people like you and I's age as a preventative. You start working on this stuff now, you're going to be a lot better off when you hit menopause.
Us perimenopausal women over here.
It's all about keeping everything together with lights everywhere.
Keep it all working.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
So I know.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked about all the amazing reasons why red light is fantastic. I just want to touch on 2 things about kind of maybe some safety precautions for people. Going back to the whole legal, right? Every time you buy a red light device, it all says like talk to your provider if you're pregnant and, you know, all of that. What's your position on pregnancy? What I tell people is don't put it directly on your belly.
Like
but
touching.
Other than that, if I was pregnant, I would 1000% be doing daily, red light therapy. Like, do you lay out in the sun while you're pregnant?
Correctly. Exactly. You know, and it's a legal thing, which you understand more than anyone of like, because this doesn't have 1 million pregnant person study proving that it's safe, we're going to err on the side of caution and say avoid direct contact on that area. But man, I wish this stuff was out when I was pregnant with my daughter, like for back pain,
Oh
for
my
hip
gosh.
pain, for
Right.
so many things.
So
It's
many
so
things.
helpful during pregnancy, just not direct contact on abdomen. We say the same thing. So if you want to do a treatment on a larger area, you could certainly do a panel. Just have that safe distance like we talked about between
Yeah.
yourself and the unit.
Okay, so I also see to not use on infants and babies, which I completely disagree with.
Yeah.
I have seen it take care of cradle cap, eczema, so many things
Diaper
on
rash.
baby, diaper rash, like just so it makes me absolutely crazy when pediatricians are telling parents like
It's because
don't
they're
do
not
that on your
informed.
kid.
They just like literally have no idea what it is. It's like, are you telling them not to leave the house to your kids one? Like, come on. So, I mean, that's where I really like the wraps though, because on like if you're talking a newborn with cradle cap, look, I say do the wrap at 50% intensity. Like for sure, take the intensity down and like do a 5-minute session, right?
Yeah,
It's,
and
of course,
that's why
isn't the
it's
same
so
as an
great.
adult,
Yeah, of
but
course.
it's super, super helpful.
Yeah. And most devices, like I said, there's a handful of companies I like and I trust, and I love my red light devices. I love yours is the only one that you can reduce the intensity on it. So you can have one where, like you said, you can create distance and still allow your kids to like get the benefit, but yours you actually can manually put down the irradiance, which is
Correct.
incredible.
So then you can still have that on-skin contact and like good absorption, but it's at like half pace. And I always tell people with really little ones too, just every couple minutes, touch their skin. Like if the skin feels really hot, then it's too intense. It should just feel nice and warm. So that's an easy way to monitor it too.
I love, so in Virginia, it gets really cold, not as cold as Chicago, but I love using my red light because I get warm.
Oh, it's amazing. It feels so
really
good.
good.
Yeah, especially for thyroid people that run
Oh, yeah,
cold.
right?
It's like
For
red
those of us
light.
who run cold.
You need a red light sleeping bag.
Oh, get on that,
Yeah.
Abby, get on that. The last thing I want to mention is people who are really photosensitive, or like if you're on medication and you're photosensitive, or those people that like they go out in the sun and they have an immediate histamine reaction and like rash all over the place. Those people might need to use caution with it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're on the meds where you're like legit supposed to avoid the sun, then don't do red light therapy.
Yeah.
Like that's just not for you. For the people who have more of a histamine response to it, I don't think I've ever seen someone that you can't tweak it and figure out a light therapy dose that works for them. But it's the same thing we've talked about. Lower the intensity or increase the distance or lower the time.
Do you find that when people do that, they can grow a tolerance to it and actually see their histamine reactions lessen?
Especially if you're also working on whatever the root cause is of your histamine problems, right? If it's mold, if it's infection, whatever. But yeah, just like how people are really sensitive to their eyes, your body then learns to adapt and you kind of have to do that. It's like if you want to get stronger muscles, you kind of have to adapt and go through that period of like growth to get used to it. But lower the intensity, lower the time, increase the distance.
Awesome. Abby, thanks for coming back.
Of
This
course.
was really informative.
Good.
I feel like people just learned so much. I'm a huge, huge fan of yours. And I know I'm going to have you back. We're going to find something else that's super cool to talk about.
There's always something to talk
There's always something. All right, Abby, take care.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Dr. Abby for being on the podcast. And if you want to get your hands on one of these very cool red light wraps, or even maybe the face mask or something else that we talked about today, you can use the link in the show notes and use code Wendy10 for 10% off. That is 10% off anything that you buy, whenever you buy it. They're very generous. We love Fringe. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll see you guys next week.